On today's show, I want to dive into the intriguing possibility of the Falcons trading for the Dolphins' star cornerback Jalen Ramsey. Earlier today, news broke that Miami and Ramsey are exploring potential trade options, and I believe the Falcons have a better shot at landing him than many realize. Before we get into the details, I have to admit I found a lot of joy in watching our Saints host Trace Gerard have a meltdown every day over something new related to Derek Carr. If you want to see the Falcons beat the Saints on the field this season and in the world of sports commentary, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Now back to the matter at hand. Ian Rappaport reported that the Dolphins and Pro Bowl cornerback Jalen Ramsey are mutually exploring trade options. Quick sidebar: what a mess for Miami. They extended contracts for both Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey, and now both players seem to be on the decline. Meanwhile, they let homegrown talents like Christian Wilkins and Robert Hunt walk in free agency. Not exactly the best decision-making happening in Miami right now. So why do I think the Falcons have a better chance of acquiring Ramsey than others might think? I believe people are viewing Ramsey through the wrong lens. Do the Falcons need a cornerback? Not really. They've brought back Mike Hughes, have A.J. Terrell, and re-signed D. Alford. They're pretty solid in that area. But I challenge you to consider Ramsey not just as a cornerback for his next team, but as a safety. Asante Samuel recently floated the idea of Ramsey switching positions, and I think this could mark the beginning of a new chapter in Ramsey's career. He played at a high level last year with Miami, but perhaps a different role with his next team could be beneficial. Ramsey and Raheem Morris have a history together from their time in Los Angeles, where they won a Super Bowl, and both have spoken highly of each other in the media. I can see a reunion happening in Atlanta if Ramsey is open to the idea of switching positions. At 30 years old, turning 31 during the season, Ramsey might be approaching a pivotal point in his career, similar to what we saw with Patrick Peterson. Remember how great Peterson was in Arizona? He continued to play effectively for a while, but more as a safety with the Steelers and Vikings than as a traditional cornerback. If Ramsey is interested in this transition and the Falcons are on board, that's how I could see a trade materializing. I don't think Atlanta would trade for Ramsey just to play him at cornerback, especially given the financial commitment they've already made to that position. A.J. Terrell is on a big contract, and they brought back Mike Hughes on a 3-year deal while also re-signing D. Alford. They've invested a lot in the cornerback position. On the other hand, at safety, they have Jesse Bates on a relatively team-friendly 4-year contract, and Jordan Fuller signed for next to nothing, at least before they knew Ramsey could be available. I can easily envision Raheem Morris eagerly wanting to bring his former cornerback to Atlanta. The success that Jalen Ramsey and Raheem Morris had together in Los Angeles is hard to overlook. Ramsey enjoyed back-to-back All-Pro seasons, culminating in a Super Bowl run in 2021. Now let's consider this from Morris's perspective. The Falcons haven't made any significant moves to bolster their pass rush. The most notable addition is Leonard Floyd, who is over 30 and coming off a season with just 8.5 sacks. With the pass rush still looking underwhelming compared to last year, relying solely on the draft to improve it may not be the smartest strategy. If the Falcons can't get to the quarterback as quickly as they'd like, they need to make it difficult for him to find open receivers downfield. One way to compensate for a lack of talented edge rushers is to ensure that every receiver is well guarded. Imagine a secondary featuring A.J. Terrell, Jesse Bates, and Jalen Ramsey. While this group may not produce top 5 or top 10 sack numbers, it would give the pass rush an extra split second to reach the quarterback. If the quarterback has to hold on to the ball longer because of the talent in the secondary, it could create opportunities for the pass rush to make an impact. This is my best rationale for how Raheem Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot could justify a trade for Ramsey. On the surface, it might not seem like the Falcons are a perfect fit for him, but when you dig deeper, it's not hard to envision a reunion between Ramsey and Morris. The best way to maximize the current roster, which lacks depth up front, is to make life as difficult as possible for opposing quarterbacks. I have more insights to share, including some numbers and what a potential trade could look like, but first let's take a moment to discuss the financial implications of such a move. From a financial standpoint, trading Ramsey would be costly for Miami. It's unlikely that a deal could be executed smoothly before June 1st, as they would face a significant dead cap hit. However, after June 1st, the situation becomes much more manageable. If we assume a post-June 1st trade, I could see the Dolphins parting with Ramsey for a fifth-round draft pick. Consider what they gave up to acquire him in the first place: a third-round pick and a player back in 2022. Fast forward to now, and Ramsey is older, more expensive, and has already dealt with injuries that sidelined him for a significant portion of the 2023 season. I believe a fifth-round pick might be all the Dolphins can realistically expect for Jalen Ramsey at this point. Looking at his performance last year, he still qualifies as a quality starting player. Will he play at an all-pro level again? I don't think so. But a fifth-round pick for someone who could be a borderline Pro Bowl player, that's definitely worth considering, especially since he played all 17 games last season. Over the past 4 years, Ramsey has shown he can stay available. He did have an injury at the start of the 2023 season, but since then he has played 27 consecutive games for Miami, racking up 5 combined interceptions over the last 2 years. So I think a fifth-round pick could get the deal done for the Dolphins. For Atlanta, they don't have a lot of draft capital to spare this year, making it sensible for both sides to wait until after the draft and after June 1st, when the financial implications for Miami become more manageable. Now, I want to hear from you. Would you trade for Jalen Ramsey? Is this a move the Falcons really need to make, or is it a bit of a stretch? I can see both sides of the argument. When I first heard that Ramsey was looking for a trade and the Dolphins were seeking a partner, I thought, Atlanta? With Mike Hughes and A.J. Terrell already in place, it doesn't really add up. But then Asante Samuel suggested the idea of Ramsey playing safety, and that changed my perspective. If he transitions to safety, pairing him with Jesse Bates and A.J. Terrell would create a formidable trio that would make it incredibly tough for opposing receivers to find any space. This would also be a significant asset for Leonard Floyd as he ages, allowing him to still pressure the quarterback effectively. Before we wrap up, I want to give a quick shout-out to a viewer from the comments section of our last video. If you haven't seen it yet, check out our discussion on ESPN's 3-round mock draft and who they had for Atlanta. Now let's spin the wheel and see who our viewer of the day is. A big shout-out goes to Archangel. You're a Hall of Fame viewer here, so 2 claps for you. 1, 2. Let's do that again. 1, 2. We're getting there. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and I'll see everyone back tomorrow for more on the Falcons.